Aloha, folks. Here I am again with my friend Joe Hewitt. You've met him before. And there's a lot of interest these days in both the idea of creating permaculture tropical food forests here in Hawaii. I get lots and lots of questions and lots of views on it. My channel might be dead if it wasn't for the interest in growing things here on this island. It is one of America's finest tropical paradises. In fact, one of the only ones. And there's also, though, and this is really international. It's international, and it's this tremendous interest in tropical fruits that are relatively unknown. I mean, most of us know what a pineapple is or a banana, and even those are still exciting, trust me. They're exciting to me. Even papayas, can be exciting. But we got a lot of fruit these days that people are bringing out, like Joe here, who's bringing stuff out of the Amazon and out of Asia and stuff and trying to grow new things. People trying to taste new things. I mean, the dragon fruit is an explosion in the last few years and so forth. I get a lot of interest in that. So there's just this tremendous interest in strange fruits. And Joe and I originally met while we were both living in the San Francisco Bay Area. South Bay, I was in Fremont, and Joe, you're in what town exactly?
Los Gatos.
Los Gatos, thank you. Yeah, so, sort of the Silicon Valley area. And Joe was an avid gardener, an avid fruit gardener, too, at his home in Los Gatos. He's got a beautiful place there. And I was called in at one point over some consultation because Joe found out about me, and we got together and we talked about what he was doing, and it's been ongoing ever since. I guess our relationship here is pretty much we both like fruit. And so, Joe, tell everybody what you're doing here and what's going on, huh?
Well, like you said, it started in Northern California, and you introduced me to the concept of growing bananas and macadamia nuts, and kind of changed the direction I was going in, growing apples and things like that. And soon enough, I had learned about all the crazy, weird stuff that was possible to grow in the tropics. But I wasn't in the tropics. I was in a, fairly mild, cold place in the Bay Area. But I tried anyway. I brought in a lot of stuff and watched it grow kind of pitifully. And a few things did really well.
That's how you find out about the few things that do pretty well. You do it.
Yes, but there are so many things that just weren't going to make it there. And I started coming to Hawaii and going to farmers markets and visiting you and tasting all kinds of stuff that just blew my mind. And it sank in that I could only grow so many goldfish plants in California. These short-lived things that swim around and die. I wanted to grow them into big trees, real trees, and eat them. So it took a few years. I finally got around to buying some land here, and so now we have that, and we're starting to work it. And
that's a nice place too, by the way. It's worth it sometimes. I'm going to make a comment. I won't even ask Joe what he paid for the place. Okay, I'm sure he paid plenty enough to get such a nice piece of land. It's on the north side of the river there in Hilo, and I guess what you got, 40 acres of it?
Yeah, 40 acres.
Okay, so and predominantly was cow pasture, so it's generally open, and I mean it's got sweeping views of the bay and of town and blah blah. So it's a really really nice place. It's also apparently adjacent to one of the fruit growing districts in Hilo because there's a lot of fruit trees planted there. Who's across the street over there?
Oh yeah, the farm across the street from me is called OK Farms.
OK Farms.
Yeah, and they grow a lot of lychee and macadamias. A lot of different things. Yeah.
So it's a very suitable location for what Joe's trying to do. But the only comment I have is when you're shopping here for real estate, we got junk land, we got medium land, we got some of the finest, most beautiful land on earth all in one place here with the nature of the way Hawaii is. And you will only pay for that piece of property one time, but you may be stuck with it for the rest of your life.
That's true.
Go on, Joe. You were saying.
Yes, well, I'd love to be stuck with it for the rest of my life, unless there's some crazy volcanic eruption. But so the property is, I knew when I was looking for land I wanted to have soil. You taught me the value of that here, one of the few places in Puna that is not on hard lava rock. Started looking in the Hamakua coast, and we found this place, 40 acres, and didn't want to have to mow down a big macadamia nut orchard, which is often the case. You find land that's affordable, but there's a huge expense. If you want to plant your own stuff, you got to get rid of the previous plantings.
The Hamakua's got a lot of eucalyptus trees.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, yeah, we found this pasture. And what do I want to do with it? Everybody asks me. Well, part of it is just kind of scratching my own itch of wanting to actually see some of these fruit trees grow into trees and being able to eat the fruit. And
Having a place where you can actually do this.
actually do that and be able to taste some of these fruits that I would have to fly halfway across the world to taste. Sometimes it's easier to fly the seeds than fly yourself and wait 10 years. So that's part of it. But, you know, it's more land than I would need for that sort of a thing. So I would like to eventually pick some of the things that I think people would actually like to eat and buy and grow them at a large enough scale that we could sell them at a farmer's
Commercially.
market. Yeah. What that's going to be, it's going to take time. I would say durian. There's definitely a market for durian that's still underserved.
He's young enough.
Well, if you buy a grafted durian tree, you know, you're looking at 5 to 8 years.
Wasn't that too bad?
If you grow it from seed, yeah, you'll definitely want 20 years of runway to get to that.
In a real big truck with an enclosed cab, so you don't have to smell them on the way to the market.
Yeah, I actually have been hearing a lot of people talking about planting durian orchards, so I'm afraid there's going to be a glut in about 10 years.
It happened with
But,
Rambutan here.
Yeah. But that's one thing. And then things like stuff we talked about in the previous video, the Cambuca, I think that's a great fruit. Green sapote, there's some other Garcinias that are really good, like the chicharu here. You know, why not have a chicharu that instead of randomly finding it at the Gila market once a year, what if it was just one of the staples? I think I think it would sell.
I think this is a crop. I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
I think Joe sent me more seeds for that than anything else. That is a crop. I'm
Well,
positive.
They planted like 600 acres of it in Australia. That was quite an experiment for them, and they're selling it around the world.
Yeah, well, the Australians are fairly progressive.
Yeah.
Fairly.
I know a lot of people on the mainland who are into these fruits, and they want to come to Hawaii and taste them. They know there's people growing it, but where do you find them? Well, you kind of have to know the guy who has it in his backyard. And one of my friends jokes about the one-tree farmers. There's a lot of people who have one tree of something, and they get just a small amount of fruit, and they sell it to the local distributor, and they put it on the booth at the farmer's market. And that teases people into thinking that it's available here. They see it at the
Yeah,
market.
but there's
and then
like 20 acres
Yeah.
or 30 acres of these things, but there's one tree, right?
one tree of some particular thing, like Chempedak. I randomly saw it at the Gila market one day, and you might not see it again for God knows how long.
I saw it in the Maku'u market once
Yeah.
one day, and I tasted it, and that was the last time I ever saw one. So
Marang, gosh, I wish I could go down to the Gila market and buy marang. That's another artocarpus that I love, but no one's growing it at scale.
Well, we'll see about that. It seems to grow pretty good here. Hopefully, you know, the problem with Hawaii is when you're going up and down. We go to almost 14,000 feet in 2 points here, and from there to sea level, and we do that in a matter of miles. And so I don't recommend you try going from the beach to the Mauna Kea Observatory and back again. And one day you'll probably pop your eyes out of your forehead from the altitude change. But every 100 feet on this island makes a lot of difference as far as what it is that's actually going to thrive. Now, some things will grow across the range, bananas, for instance, grow up and down. Although I have some varieties here I brought from Hilo that don't want to grow up here, like the basic dwarf Cavendish, the really small Cavendish. They need a lot of heat, and so Joe, your elevation would be what?
350 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're pretty low down there. You're down in the warm zone where you're going to be able to take advantage of most of the really tropical stuff.
Yeah, and there are some things, you know, you can't grow everything in the tropical zone. There are some things that do like a little bit of chill,
Oh yeah.
you know, so.
Well, it's the coffee grows better up here than it does
Sure,
in Hilo. We
sure,
produce a
yeah.
really good crop here. And I am probably prejudiced, but I think my pineapples taste better up here than they do down there.
Oh, yeah?
Well, maybe I'm lying, but
I believe it. I mean, anything that can grow in, like, L.A.
yeah.
Can survive that, maybe prefers a little bit of chill.
So I tend to refer to your project there as your fruit Disneyland. That's a kind of a joke, but it's the fact is that you brought so many different seeds in here and things that have hardly ever grown in Hawaii and stuff, and so that's why I refer to it as a Disneyland, because you have all this strange stuff that was brand new to me before you even brought it around. Being completely fearless about planting seeds, I just plant them, and guess what? Most of them grew. But and so I guess there's a bright future for all of that. But I imagine, and so I'm guessing on you, and that is that initially what you'll be doing is putting in so much of this, that, and the other thing, and then watching to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, start out planting a small amount of everything, and it might take 4 or 5 years before I really know what I should be planting rows and rows of. There's no need to rush, because if you pick the wrong thing, that's a lot of wasted effort.
A lot of wasted time and money and effort,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you basically are on the same profile program that I've been using here. I'm still in the midst of it. I still get surprises, and as you bring more stuff in, I've been planting some of this on the farm. Who knows? What's going to occur?
I know you like this because you put 4 or 5 of them in the ground.
There's 5. There's 5 of them up there,
achachas?
and there'll be more probably. But yeah, there's 5 of them. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not nuts. Sometimes I tend to say that a lot of rare fruit is rare for a good reason, because it's either its adaptability or its tasteability. Is specific. Some people in certain localities grown up with a certain thing, they enjoy it, but you try it on somebody else and they're like, eh. I mean, I'm still hot on apples, bananas, pineapples, papayas, but gradually there are things that we bump into like a cha-cha or jaboticaba. I love them. They're great, and they go right in with the rest of my diet, but a lot of things that you can grow and that are strange and tropical, well, like for instance, the Rollinia. Now, the Rollinia grows very, very easy here. It's pretty well adapted as long as you have enough moisture to most of this side of the island. And they grow big fruits, and so they sell for a fair price. And you can sell a Rollinia on the market and so on, but frankly, it's not the best Annona.
No.
I'd rather have a pawpaw any day, and I would certainly rather have an Atamoya or a Cherimoya,
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of stuff you can grow and it's very successful, but
Yeah, and a lot of times like this Annona we talked about in the previous video, the Crassiflora, boy, it sure looks good. But I don't know how I would get a chance to taste it. I'd have to find someone who knows where to find a tree in the middle of the jungle in Brazil and be there when before the monkeys get to it,
Well, a little bit of this, is just a little bit like globetrotting, doing seeds, because it's like traveling. You don't actually have to go there to taste this.
Yeah.
If you can get it to grow.
Yeah. If you can, Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. I find it thrilling. That's, I guess, the biggest fascination with rare plants, unusual plants. The plants don't know they're rare, but for us, they're new, they're different, they're exciting. That was probably a time when no one ever tasted an apple. That must have been pretty exciting.
Somebody had to pick them out of the forest.
That's right. And so these things gradually move in on our diets. With all the interest we have these days in the tropical fruits, I think there'll probably be, for most of us across the planet, some new tropical fruits in our diets. Most of us all eat bananas. Most of us eat pineapples. A good percentage of us eat mangoes and papayas. These are common foods right next to corn, peas, and apples. Really, they're coming that way. But the achacha is still hardly known.
Yeah.
Most of the jaboticabas that you have in the collection are hardly known even here.
We're getting them on the radar of the USDA so that they allow them into the mainland from Hawaii or Puerto Rico or Asia. That's a process. So I know actually this Garcinias were allowed to be, recently, they allowed Puerto Rico to send any Garcinia to the mainland without irradiation. So I know some people down there that were starting to plant out more of these for that reason, and then some of them got wiped out by the hurricane last year.
Yeah, I was going to say the timing was perfect, wasn't it? I'm sure they got a great achacha crop.
That's sad, but it's coming. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it'll grow back. Yeah, well, that's good that they do that. Here, most everything they want to put it over in a radiator to send it off this island, so that's a big problem as far as Hawaii's concerned. It's true, we do have fruit flies here, but what was it you were saying the other day? Oh, durian. That
Yeah.
durian, because they now say it's not a fruit fly host?
Yeah, I guess you're allowed to ship durian from Hawaii to the mainland.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Some people do it. There's some farms. I think there's one in Maui. I forget the name. If you go to their website at the right time, they will ship you durian.
So that makes durian and pineapples, macadamia nuts, and coconuts.
Yeah,
Otherwise, the rest of it, I think we got to either dry it, nuke it, can it, or
yeah,
do something with it
yeah.
to get it out of here. And yeah, oh well, that's the sad part, especially for the small grower. Although where there's a will, there's a way, and there are things a person can do. I mean, products. I have been doing a lot of drying, for instance, on fruit, and it's excellent. And that's one way you can get it off this island. I grow fruit all the time myself, and then just eat the stuff and sell you guys the seeds. Which is, again, another crop and another way to get things off the island. And with the interest in tropical growing these days, seeds that's the key to it all. That's how this all comes about.
Yep.
And so, let's see, you've got yourself a place situated there in Hilo. I guess you'll be here pretty well permanent, or more or less permanent pretty soon?
In a couple months, yeah.
Oh. So you'll probably be seeing more of Joe. I hope he brings his drone back so we can look overhead.
Yeah.
But then I guess your plans are, aside from planting the property out, I imagine that you're probably going to put a structure over there eventually? Or?
Eventually, yeah. We bought a little house in town, so I don't have to think about building a house, because I'd rather think about farming right now.
Yeah.
Worry about building a house when I have time.
Wow, such a European concept. A house in town with a farm field outside there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I know you guys were talking about bamboo houses a while ago. Is that still
Yeah.
hot, or did you move on past that one?
No, I like the idea. There's a couple companies that sell these prefabricated bamboo houses that are relatively affordable, and they have a few different pre-designed structures that are even pre-permitted, so much easier to get them through the city permitting process.
Well, they recently, a few years back, the county finally decided that they would allow certain bamboo structures here. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I wouldn't want to do any custom architecture here. I've heard horror stories about it. And we don't need a McMansion, so there's some really nice designs that are ready to go. Just put a little bit of customization on it. Good home.
I found it easier. Yeah, we didn't go with the bamboo homes, but I did use one of the Hansador packages, and wow, I found it a lot easier to be able to go that way. And we did do certain modifications to it also. So, well, welcome to Hawaii, Joe.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes, sirree. This has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what comes from it. I'll bet the rest of you can too. We're going to stay in touch with this. As Joe moves on through the project, we'll drop in and see how it's coming along.
Yeah, you can come do a tour or something like that.
We'll
That'd be
do that.
fun.
All right. Aloha, folks. Hang loose. We'll see you later.